Welcome to the William Wagener Show on issues the network media is usually too afraid to tackle. I'm Pamela Wistrom, tonight's co-host. And now for the host and star of this 14-year weekly TV show, the one and only William J. Wagener. Woo!
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you. Thank you
Pamela
very
Wistrom.
much. You're so cute. You're so cute. Thank you, Pam.
Good morning. The judge would like to speak to all the attorneys for the plaintiffs, and all the attorneys for the defendants for a quick pre-trial conference. So if y'all come up, plaintiffs and defendants attorneys.
My name is Van Arian, and I represent plaintiff David Weldon.
Good morning, sir. I'm ready.
May it please this very honorable court, last night the court received a letter from Mr. Devonson, attorney for the defendant. The last paragraph I'd like to read into the record states, we await your taking the requested action, and so, we will, of course, suspend further participation in these proceedings, including the hearing scheduled for January 26th. As the court can see, neither the defendant nor the defendant's attorneys are here. The Secretary of State responded with a letter to Mr. Jablonski last night stating that if they don't show up, it will be at their own peril, I believe is the quote. Your Honor, the plaintiff calls the plaintiff, Mr. David Walton.
Please, counsel, you have 30 minutes to conclude your case. So can you stand up and raise your right hand?
You swear the testimony you have to is the truth from all the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
The witnesses.
Please state your name for the record.
David Weldon
Where do you live?
in Powder Springs, Georgia, in Cobb County.
Are you registered to vote in the state of Georgia?
Yes, I am.
Showing the witness what has been marked for identification, plaintiff's 1. Are you familiar with that document?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the birth certificate that I downloaded.
Welcome to our show, Take Back America. Tonight, we have a guest in the studio. But what you just saw is the corruption on the federal level. What you just saw was our own footage. That was not CNN or Fox footage. They were there. ABC was there also, and they aired none of it. That was the trial of Barack Hussein Obama for failing to qualify to even be a candidate, a nominee for presidency. That was in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple years ago. Now, as he comes to the end of his second term, we have a few people starting to push for the impeachment articles of a man, Barack Hussein Obama, that used a dead man's Social Security number, a dead man from Connecticut, and has been using it and getting away with it for a long time. Some of you may remember that mom, April Cummings, who was fighting for her kids here on this show. She later used her own daughter's Social Security number illegally, improperly, and she got years in prison for doing just what Barack Obama's got away with for 8 years. For 8 years, and he's not served a day in jail. But there's a new lawsuit going on. My whole point is, from the presidency down to your county, the judges are corrupt, the executives are corrupt, the congressmen don't care. All they want is their pensions and their bribes, under the table bribes, cash. Didn't Duke Cunningham from San Diego go to prison for being caught taking cash? I think he did. I think that, wasn't there another one from Texas? Another congressman, a Republican too. Didn't he go to prison for taking cash? I think he did. Now with me tonight is Karen Feely.
Veely.
Welcome, Karen, to the show.
Thank you.
You're from what city?
I'm from San Luis Obispo.
San Luis City in the county of San Luis Obispo.
Yes.
Is that right? Tell me why you're here tonight. Are you getting any media in there, in that county? Are you getting any justice in the courts there?
Currently, I'm a reporter. I run Cal Coast News. It's an
Right.
online investigative news source. And you asked me here today because of some of the retaliation by public officials when we go after items that they have close to their hearts or friends.
You did a story about what?
I was covering CAPSO, Community Action Partnership of San Luis Obispo,
Okay.
along with their relationship with the county and their relationship with C.P.S. and the County Guardianship's Office at a business called Family Ties. And at that time, one of the county supervisors was dating a woman named Dee Torres, who was one of the heads of the CAPSO Homeless Services. And he had warned us that we needed to stop covering CAPSO. He had asked us to stop covering CAPSO, or he was going to go after us as soon as he won the election again. And it immediately started.
And he won the election again.
He won the election, and this was about 2 years
And he
ago.
immediately went after you.
He immediately began contacting my advertisers with claims. Things would show up on Topics. Topics is a website run by 3 newspapers where anyone can post anything. They can post that you murdered your family. They can post that you're a pedophile. They have a right to they put up everything. So things would show up on Topics, And the supervisor would send those to my advertisers, acting as if it was real news. And they were getting calls. Some advertisers said that he directly called them and asked them to stop working with me.
So they can post anything on there, whether it's true or not. There's no vetting of anything?
There have been some lawsuits, but they don't sue topics. They sue the people that are posting.
Okay.
And it really, you have to file the lawsuit, then go after topics to give up the names, and it takes some time. There was recently a Texas lawsuit where a man was, I think he was called a sex offender, and he ended up getting over $10 million.
Wow.
Actually around $14 million. Him and his wife were bashed for some time. But that's...
So the county supervisor in San Luis Obispo couldn't take the heat of what you were disclosing in your story. Is that, am I summarizing?
He wanted us not to do it.
Not to do the story anymore. You already did.
Yes. And he actually, well, when we were investigating it, this took over a year to investigate. He knew we were investigating, we were making phone calls. He started before we ever had a story out, probably 6 months before.
Because he knew you were investigating.
Yes. And it takes time to get all the documents and to do the investigation, to do the interviews. And then they even became very aggressive. They actually served letters on our sources.
To kill your advertising.
No, on our sources of the story,
Oh, on
asking
the
them
sources of the
to,
story.
Basically a threat of, change your story. If you continue to say this, you could be sued along with Cal Coast News and Karen Veely. They served El Dorado Broadcasting a letter saying if you continue to have Karen Veely on your show, you could be sued also. So there was a professionally sued, a lawyer made them out, and they were served. There was one lawsuit filed.
And then what?
And then it continued to get more and more aggressive with the topics and the advertisers. And then I had a incident with my daughter. And I lost a child last year on July 19th. And what happened was she had a long-term seizure disorder. And she had a seizure in the bathroom, inhaled some water, and went into a coma. And during this time, we stayed at the hospital. We stayed at a hotel near the hospital because I knew she was going to die. I could tell by the EEG was almost completely flat. And I was battling with the county to allow me to, or with the hospital to donate her organs, which we did. And so at that point, after she died, the day that she died, my daughter went home and her roommates were having an argument. The police were called. The house was very dirty.
Your other daughter.
My other daughter.
Your other daughter. I want to be clear.
Yes, my other daughter.
Your other daughter that has children.
It has 3 children.
Okay.
And the police called C.P.S. I was on my way to San Francisco to be with my daughter while she died. I drove over to the house. A policeman said, they said if you can stay, and I said I really want to be with my daughter while she dies. And the policeman said, the kids will be back in your custody in 2 or 3 days. They don't take children for a dirty house for very long. Well, it ended up being 5 months with almost no contact with family allowed to the children.
And these children are how old?
At that point, they were 7, 8, and 10.
7, 8, and 10? 7, 8, and 10? I would call that child abuse. Them just taking the kids away for that long. That's got to be horribly traumatic.
It puts them behind.
That age.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's horrible on the family. But to do it at a time of grief.
Yeah, you're already in grief. That's when they pick on you.
And then I applied to have the children staying with me. And went to court, and they made numerous claims, trying not to let me have the children, telling me my job was too dramatic. One of the C.P.S. workers repeatedly lied to the judge, made claims that were untrue, basically that I didn't really care about getting them, I wasn't looking for a house big enough to have them, this type of thing. And the judge says, and every time they do that, you have a couple more weeks with them in custody. Finally, I get where they're going to give me the children. And after I have them for a day, I'm teaching a bridge class. I have 2 glasses of wine. The kids are with a babysitter. I drive home, and I'm pulled over, and I blow a .06 under the legal limit. They don't take my driver's license, but they did charge me. C.P.S. then took the children, told me that I should not even be allowed to talk to them. I should not be allowed to see them. This DUI should prohibit me from being around my children because now I am a danger to children.
Yeah, I get the picture. Karen Veely is with us, people. If you just tuned in, this is Karen Veely. She runs a online